I just want to make a quick video about some of the theological videos. I made a little short where I just simply explained that the parallels between Jesus and Pan have always been there. But when you dig a little bit deeper into Judaism and Messiah ben David, you understand why it's there. So my journey started when I realized that Jesus didn't fulfill all of the major parts of the prophecies that were in the Bible. And Christians say that he'll do that on his return. But the problem is that there's so much evidence for Adam and Eve coming back in the last days, of which Jonathan Cahn and many writers like Jonathan Cahn, Derek Gilbert and Trevor Horn, Dr. Trevor Horn, have spoken about. So just to go into it, so you have Jesus says he'll come like a thief in the night. A thief in the night was always about Hermes stealing cattle from Apollo. Then you have the Good Shepherd with a lamb around his neck, right? Pan was always, Hermes as well, always had this sheep around his neck. And that's how Jesus is depicted early on. And then we have Son of Man. So in the book of Enoch, we have this thing where a lot of Christians are saying, why does it say Son of Man has one part to play and then the Son of Man has another? It's because there's always a parallel, because Adam, who is like Ben David, is always a son of man, which is not a negative connotation, because Son of Man has more importance in Judaism than Son of God. So there are two sons of man, there are two sons of God. There were always two sons of God, because Jesus was always a son of God, but he is an avatar of God. And then we have Adam. Adam was always the son of God, the original Messiah. And what I've discovered is that these parallels align with all of paganism, with all the pagan stories. So we have the Garden of Eden, and Eden is just a name for Africa. It's an old name for Africa. And we know, roughly speaking, that the Garden of Eden was in Iran. And we know that it was probably at the real center of Babylon. And we know that the Bible centers around 5 major characters: Zeus, Apollo, Kronos, Adam and Eve, and obviously Jesus for Christianity. And this is the thing about Christianity. It doesn't answer all the questions. So if you go to Rabbi Tovia Singer's YouTube, you can see there are a million problems with Christianity, and he goes into great detail, and he's wrong about a lot of things, because we have a lot of atheists who will simply say that the Bible is made up. Well, if you go to your internet browser and you look at the Sumerian tablets, you will see very, very clearly that you have all these creation stories which are pagan, which talk about Enki being genetically engineered, as it were, from Homo erectus. So you have a god, an angel, who has basically genetically engineered part of Homo erectus to become a human. And then all you got to do is look up Enki, and you can see very clearly that he's associated with the morning star. Jesus in the book of Revelation says that he is like a morning star. So what it is that in Hinduism we have Vishnu, and Vishnu is the supreme creator God. He is the God that they say is supreme, and that one of his avatars, of which they say he has 10, but he does in fact have more, is Krishna. And Krishna is the trickster god, or like the Joker and Batman and the Monkey King. He is the same, and he is there in the garden of Zeus and Hera with Persephone. Now, even though lots of people know about the Joker and the Monkey King and all these things in movies and film and TV, and he's everywhere, you know, Pan and Robin Hood. Doesn't matter where you go, you're going to see Pan, and you're going to see Pan. But what people don't understand is that you see Eve everywhere as well. You see Eve in the Statue of Liberty, right? She's called Columbia. She's called Isis. She's called Persephone. She's called Pandora. And the Bible has spoken about this love in this Garden of Eden. But you only have to look at the Garden of, it's hard to pronounce it, Persephone, I think it's called. And you'll see that this garden is the Garden of Eden. So I'm writing a book at the moment explaining all these parallels and how really what the ultimate secret is that you'll find in the parable of the lost sheep is that Jesus doesn't want to say outright when he was alive that we are not only related to those old angels, those fallen angels. Some of us, if not all of us, are those angels, of which there were billions. So 1/3 of the angels fell from heaven, and we are those angels. That's what my research has led me up to thinking. Not only are we related to Hermes Persephone, but we are avatars of those angels. Those angels are here as us, and it's very well known in the occult that this is what's happening. And you will see this in the Catholic Church as well, because in the Sistine Chapel we have this white man with a white beard. Well, that has always been Kronos with the set square, like in the Masons. That is Kronos. And Kronos in Hinduism is known as Brahma. Brahma was created basically by Vishnu. And we know that Vishnu is associated with the Alpha and the Omega. Just like Jesus says, he is the Alpha and the Omega.